love my HBCU. And boy, I love it, love it. I love it, love it. I love my HBCU. And man, I hope my team they won. I hope my team they won. Yeah, man. I hope my team they won. I hope my team they won. I tune into the HBCU Sports Lab to see if my team won or lost. If they lost, I'm quiet as a mouse. But if they won, keep tab. I'ma do the dab, yeah. Dr. Cavil, he know what he be talking about. Mike and Charles, they know what they be talking about. They compress the analytic data with the hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they won or lost, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. I want to say welcome to episode 715 of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab radio show and podcast, the show that's covering the sporting HBCU dash for all things HBCU sports, for institutions large and small, from the NEIA to the NCAA. We share insights and information on the HBCU sports culture, HBCU athletic aesthetics to facilitate the story of HBCU athletic programs and the business of HBCU sports. I'm your host, Dr. Kenyatta, along with my co-host, Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. We're filming from our home studios and sending a signal live to KCOH 1230 AM studios with the Texas Radio Hall of Famer, multi-Hall of Famer Ralph Cooper in the beautiful home of Texas Southern University from Houston, Texas. That being said, let's bring on the members of the show today, co-host and all. We have a loaded box for you today. Today's episode of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab is sponsored by THG Agency. THG Agency is a company that provides sporting, educational consulting, and data analytics. With that being said, let me get with my teammate here, Charles Bishop. How are you doing today?
Doing well, Doc. We are chock full of football games this weekend. Looking forward to it. This is going to really kind of shake things up after this weekend, so looking forward to talking about it.
Good stuff, good stuff. With that being said, let me go to Wilton and see what Wilton has to say today.
Man, Doc, it's just good to be back. We were just talking about it, like, you know, to really, for me to just dive fully into like college football season. And instead of trying to balance two different sports going on right now, but I mean, I feel like that's the nature of sports right now. You got baseball going, you got college football going, basketball for NBA and some other college basketball teams getting ready to start back. But more than anything, like this weekend, to Charles' point, especially in the SWAC, you're going to find out what teams are starting to, you know, maybe start the process of creating some separation and which teams have started strong but may not be that strong.
So you taking the Charles Bishop approach, you're going to send some folks to the ledge then, right?
Just a little bit.
That's cold-blooded. That's cold-blooded. I want to send out one of my favorite coaches out there in the business getting done, Coach T.C. Taylor. Happy birthday to that brother there, getting it done over there at Jackson State University. I want to send him a happy birthday with that. With that being said, let me go to Drew. Let's see what's on Drew's mind today.
Well, Dr. Cavil, Charles, Wilton. Wilton's over there trying to balance sports. I'm just trying to find my sports footing because every team that I root for seems to be underwater right now. The institution where I work at, my alma mater, my first alma mater, FAMU. My other alma mater is at 500. My professional football team, the Kansas City Chiefs, are struggling. So, I mean, I Brother Drew just can't catch it right now, man.
Yeah, it's tough.
No violins for the Kansas City Chiefs. No.
And
that's true too.
The most important team, my beloved St. Louis baseball Cardinals, are not in the playoffs.
Oh yeah,
So I'm catching it right now.
Yeah, you catching it right now. You catching it right now.
Yeah,
it's tough in the world of Drew. With that being said, let me go back to you, Charles. What's on your mind from an HBCU perspective?
Yeah, let's take a look at this week's SWAC Player Awards from this past week for September 22nd. As Southwestern Athletic Conference has tabbed Bethune-Cookman's Malik Huggins, Max Tulin, And Kamani Robinson, along with Prairie A&M's Trevor Randall for SWAC Football Weekly Awards. Let's take a look at the Offensive Player of the Week. Malik Huggins, he hauled in 6 receptions for a career high, Dr. Field, 177 yards and 2 touchdowns, including a career long of 82 yards this past week in the victory over Edward Waters. Defensive Player of the Week was Mr. Randall. Trevor Randall, he filled the stat sheet, 14 tackles, 4 solo, 10 assists to go along with a key interception for the Panthers during their non-conference win over Northwestern State. Specialist of the week was Mr. Tula. He was a key member of the Bethune-Cookman special teams unit on Saturday. In his 4th game as a Wildcat starting punter, he punted 5 times for 231 yards, including a long of 55 yards. He also placed 3 kicks inside the 20, using that old sand wedge for a foot, putting them inside the 20. And then the newcomer of the week was Kamani Robinson. He had a breakout game against Edward Waters. 12 rushing attempts. He racked up 114 yards with a touchdown, including a 75-yard breakaway score. So those were your SWAC Players of the Week.
Good stuff, Charles. Congratulations to the SWAC Players of the Week. Drew, what direction you want to go with the HBCU news of the day?
I want to go actually something that I received in my email today, and I think it's newsworthy, everybody, about the USA Basketball Foundation announces 4th Torch Leadership Cohort. That is tough to say. 4th Torch Leadership Cohort. And this comes out of Colorado Springs, Colorado. And excuse me for reading, everybody. The USA Basketball Foundation announced the 3rd Torch Leadership in Sports Mentoring Cohort. The Torch will run from September 2025 to May 2026. Torch provides opportunities for minority students to be mentored by USA basketball executives with the goal of empowering the next generation of BIPOC, that's Black, Indigenous, and People of Color leaders in sports by introducing them to opportunities at USA basketball and other sports-related entities. Selected from among the 230 applicants, the 2026 cohorts include, and I'm just going to read the HBCU recipients: Deja Boyd from North Carolina Central, senior; Lemanuel Donaldson from Clark Atlanta University, senior; Shakina Leonce from Alabama State, senior; Naya Myers from Howard University, senior; Sydney McCree, Norfolk State, senior; Elijah Pinckney, Morehouse, senior; and Khalees Tiliage Spellman, junior. So, and just one more thing I want to say: applications requirements including having a minimum 3.0 GPA, having junior, senior, or graduate level standing at an HBCU, Hispanic Serving Institution, or AANAPISA, that's Asian American and Native American Pacific Islanders Serving Institution, along with resume, cover letter, and letter of recommendation. So.
Good stuff. I appreciate you. Good news there. Wilton, what direction you going? And that's Wilton Jackson, the second for those that don't know.
Yeah, I'm going to go into the MEAC weekly honors from this week. So North Carolina Central running back Chris Mosley was the MEAC Conference Offensive Player of the Week. Howard linebacker Jaquavian Smith.
You think so?
No, he had an incredible performance against North Carolina A&T, but I'm sure we'll get into some of that within the show. Howard linebacker Jaquavian Smith earned Defensive Player of the Week honors. Morgan State's running back Randall Nodden was selected as the Rookie of the Week. And North Carolina Central offensive lineman Trevon Humphrey collected Offensive Lineman of the Week, while North Carolina Central's kicker Caleb Robeson was recognized as a specialist of the week. Mosley accounted for 5 touchdowns, 3 rushing and 2 receiving in North Carolina Central's 62-20 win over North Carolina A&T. He rushed for 168 yards on just 11 carries and added 4 receptions for 90 yards with 2 scores. As far as for Howard, with Smith, he tallied 7 tackles, 4 solo, including 3 tackles for a loss and 2 sacks, totaling 19 yards against Hampton. When it comes to Nodden at Morgan State, he carried the ball 9 times for 38 yards and a touchdown, averaging 3.8 yards per carry to help the Bears secure their first win of the season over Central State. Humphrey anchored an offensive line that powered North Carolina Central to a program record 745 yards of total offense against the Aggies. My gosh, I guess the A&T just didn't show up for that game. But Roberson for North Carolina Central went a perfect 7 for 7 on PATs and added a 21-yard field goal in the victory over North Carolina A&T. He averaged 61.2 yards per kickoff with six touchdowns, 6 touchbacks, on the day.
Man, they made Coach Gibbs over there lose his religion.
Yeah.
How much? Walker looked like Tom Brady. Got to have a coaching man about to have a meltdown. He couldn't take it no more. Charles, what other direction you want to go in?
Are we ready to get into some of these matchups? I'm ready to rock and roll.
Well, let me get this out there before we get in there and take our first break. Just wanted to make sure that you didn't have any additional stuff. We're going to get into those matchups for sure. We'll do those during the last 3 segments. But Nike pays tribute. We need to be talking to sneakershop.com, if you would. Brandon King. I know this is in this alley. I wonder if he going to grab any pair of one of these if he somehow already has one. You know,
He probably got some already.
Yeah, sneakerhead. You know how that is.
Yeah.
Nike pays tribute to HBCUs with Air Max 95 release. They selected 4 institutions. So check this out. Nike is once again shining a spotlight on historically black colleges and universities with its latest Yard Runners project. This time the swoosh pulls up with a bold collection of Air Max 95s dedicated to 4 iconic HBCU institutions. Since 2020, Nike has shown love to HBCUs through the Yard Runners program, which was created to celebrate the legacy of HBCU institutions and the people they serve with footwear designed by alumni. On its 5th anniversary, the program is marking the occasion with what sneakernews.com calls its most ambitious release yet, a full lineup of 4 Air Max 95s, each paying tribute to a different HBCU. For holiday 2025, the Yard Runners Air Max 95 pack highlights Spelman College, Morehouse College, Florida A&M. And if that was enough, if Michael Vick wasn't getting it done in one aspect, here's another example to show what happens when you have the power of that brand name. You have Norfolk State University. So those are the 4. Each design pulls from its history, color, palettes, and mascots, turning sneakers into wearable symbols of HBCU pride. Pretty cool there. This new drop follows several high-profile collaborations. For example, a couple years ago, and I couldn't even get these. I wanted to get these, Clark Atlanta University received its own Nike Dunk colorway in 2022. They were gone so fast.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Obviously, many of us know about Howard University later showcased a Jordan brand Air Jordan 4-player exclusive, complete with custom HU lace, debris, and school crest. I didn't even try to get those. I let it go. But they were nice looking. I saw
They were.
Including the AD over there. He better be glad his foot was kind of small. He might not Terminator High HBCU pack to rise in 2023, while Virginia Union University debuted a Air Force One release in 2024. So I think that's pretty cool in terms of what that looks like. So I want to give some love for those HBCUs, specifically credit to Nike for getting it done. I got to get some thoughts from Brandon King, giving him a shout out because he is the sneakerhead shop.com. So much so he even has a website that he's dedicated to it, and then sharing some love at the HBCU level. I picked up the Tennessee State Nike Pegasus, so I may add one of these to my collection. I told you. I knew it. My man. Good job. Sneakershoptalk.com. Check out what he does and break down. HBCU Sports does a lot of good writing, gives you updates and stuff like that. And then we'll say, sorry, Drew. It will be Montgomery Ball 2 in Tallahassee. So I would take the first break.
You were just catching stories already.
Hide your white chairs. Hide your white chairs in Tallahassee.
Nation in here interested in Norfolk State attendance took a steep drop last week. Yeah, 8,100. The love is already gone. We'll see what that looks like. You got to get a win or 2 in there. What were you saying, Drew?
I said hide your white chairs in Tallahassee.
Oh, no.
The Andrew Body Show.
Hide your white folding chairs. Hide them.
Wow, I feel you. Good stuff. Let's take this first break. Come back on the other side. As Charles said,
Charles got one. He just can't get it out.
He said, relax. Let's get into the matchups. We'll be right back. We'll start with Major Division, dip a little bit maybe in the Mid-Major, and then give you some more Major Division. Stick with us. We'll be right back after this break.
Football fans, the Cricket Celebration Bowl is celebrating 10 years of crowning an HBCU national champion. A champion will rise at Mercedes-Benz Stadium on December 13th as the MEAC and SWAC champions clash in Atlanta. Join us for championship football, interactive fan experiences, and iconic marching bands. It's an HBCU family reunion that you don't want to miss. See who will be crowned the next HBCU national champion. For event and ticket information, visit thecelebrationbowl.com.
For over 30 years, HBCU Image has been more than just an apparel store. We've been a movement, a state, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically black colleges and universities legendary. Whether you're a student or a lifelong supporter, our gear lets you wear your HBCU stories with confidence and style. Because when you wear HBCU Image, you're not just wearing clothes. You're wearing culture. You're wearing pride. You're wearing purpose. HBCU.
With over 25 years of serving our communities, Destiny Financial Services, a division of Global Life, is here to help you and your family through difficult times. From cancer care to accidental industries to cardiac care, we all know that there are times that you can't control what happens in your life, but you can be prepared to weather the storm when it comes. Call DFS at 877-300-8269 or visit the website at www.globelifeinsurance.com. That is 877-300-8269, or again, the website at www.globelifeinsurance.com.
ESPN Events presents Red Lobster Band of the Year, a title reserved for elite HBCU marching bands. A season-long competition that culminates in Atlanta on Friday, December 12th. Drum majors, percussion, drill, auxiliaries, musicality. All aspects will be examined by the toughest judges in the world of college bands. 4 will qualify for the big stage, where national champions will be crowned. Follow us on social media for rankings updates throughout the season. And join us in Atlanta on December 12th. For event and ticket information, visit bandoftheyear.com.
Compress the analytic data with your hip-hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
Yes, this is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. As we continue to get it done and get going, I want to bring up the key major matchups for week number 5 in the top 7. Let's look at some of those games that we got going on here and see what these gentlemen have to say about those matchups. As we do that, let's look at these top 7 in terms of those matchups. What we released on Sunday in terms of the top 17. Let's review those real quick as we get in those matchups. That's number 7, Delaware State. Number 6 is Howard Bison. Number 5 is Alabama A&M Bulldogs. Number 4, North Carolina Central Eagles. And number 3, Alabama State Hornets. Number 2 is South Carolina State Bulldogs. Number 1, Jackson State Tigers. So let's go with that number 1 matchup. It's a premium matchup for a lot of folks that have followed HBCU sports over the years, particularly in the SWAC. This is one of the biggest rivalries you have, particularly when you remove it from in-state rivals, which are natural. This one goes interstate. It goes across state lines, as they would say. You have Jackson State, the Tigers coming in here as they continue to get things done, 2-1, rolling this season, playing some really good football at times, but they're facing Southern Jaguars. A lot of folks are trying to figure out, what can we make of these Southern Jaguars? They came in top 7 team. They're kind of falling a little bit in terms of what that looks like. They have a win on the season, But the challenging with this matchup is this one counts. The last couple of years, they played this game as a SWAC, non-conference SWAC game. Not the same this year. This is for real. But Jackson State has to go on the road. And we know what Baton Rouge and On the Bluff has been for the Tigers for a while. With that being said, I'm going to start with you, Drew, and let Charles and then Wilton give a little update after you. What do you think, AB?
Right now, statistically looking, if you just take the most basic statistic out there, Southern scoring 15.5 points per game, giving up 36.5 points per game. Jackson State scoring 26 points per game, giving up 17 and a third points per game. What does that say? Just looking at that one stat, blowout Jackson State. So it's as simple as that. But we know when these teams come together, you can throw all that stuff out of the window. Look, Jackson State on paper should have the better team, but all it takes is one of those days not holding on to the ball, a fluke play, or inopportune penalty, anything, and the tide can turn. And I still say it. If Southern is close, you have to lean towards Southern just based on just the history that we've seen under Coach Graves in close games. So just putting it out there. So Jackson State, handle your business early, so that come the fourth quarter, you can put your twos in the game, even though we know we won't because that's a conference game. But so if you wanted to put your twos in the game, you could. That's what Jackson State needs to do in this game.
Charles, I saw you tilting your head a little bit. Other than obviously what you've experienced over the years in terms of Southern, how they play Jackson, period, particularly at home on the Bluff, what concerns you about this matchup that, unlike some people, you may not be going in with a confidence level in terms of seeing what Jackson State has done this year? Although they're number one, returning HBCU champions with a lot of players coming back. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, when I take a look at this game, I think the big thing for me is the quarterback play of Jacoby Morgan. I think when you take a look at it thus far, he's been sort of mid, if you will. Hasn't been able to get the ball downfield. I think that's going to be huge for Jackson State. But I think the formula particularly has not changed since Jackson State has started on this run. And if you want to be honest about it, the run over the last few years really started down there at Baton Rouge when Jackson State turned the tide and broke Southern's and broke that losing streak to Southern back in 2021. And it's taken off from there. I think the big thing for Jackson State in this game is they've got to protect the football. You can't have turnovers that give Southern a short field. Defensively, I think Jackson State is probably one of the best teams in HBCU football with regards to defense. The formula is simple. They cut you off from running the football, and they force you to throw the football, and those guys really can tee off. And they have defensive end Quincy Ivor who can really come after you. The linebackers, they get after you. They are really molded, and this is what some of those old Jackson State players love about this team. They look so much like the 90s Jackson State Tigers, the 80s, 90s Jackson State Tigers, where it was strong running game, defense, ground you and pound you, and then come out with a win. So I look for that similar this weekend. I don't think the streak ends. I think Jackson State gets the W, but it's going to be a close one. It's going to be a very close one.
Yeah, Charles wanted to sell me on what it would take place, but at the end, I think he settled down and he feeling a little more comfortable. If there's such a thing for Charles. Wilton, where are you in terms of your concern with this matchup and why?
I think the concern, Charles kind of hit the nail on the coffin as far as like with the quarterback play in Jacoby Morgan. Not that he's played bad, but just seeing him take more strikes down the field. I think that's the next key to Jackson State's offense opening up a little bit more, and is also the key to success long term for them throughout the season. And I think that this could be a good week to at least see him get going a little bit more and putting the ball downfield a little bit more. But I also think that for him to do that, Jackson State also has to continue to kind of maintain that rushing attack that they've had in recent weeks, because they've basically shown that they can run the ball against anybody. So I think that, having that strong rushing attack to kind of maintain the clock, keep Southern off the field, I think that bodes them well. Continuing to pick up first downs. I love Jack State does well when they really put together those long, methodical drives that take a lot of time, not even just from a running game, but a strong mixture of both run and pass. And I think that this could be this would bode them well coming into this game. And I think if you're Southern, if you want to try to get a win against Jack State, you absolutely have to get pressure on Jacoby and Morgan. So Kelby Gibbons, Elijah West, Horatio Johnson, all those players on Southern's defense, those are just a few. This is a game where you absolutely have to make Jacoby and Morgan uncomfortable and force third downs, get stops on third downs if you want to have a chance to win this game. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I do think it's going to be a close game. And if you're Jackson State and you want to win, to Drew's point, make sure you take care of your business in the first half.
Yeah.
Can I get one stat to look at, Dr. Cavil, before we move off this game?
Sure.
Both these teams in today's game are doing something unusual. Both of these teams rush the ball more than they pass the ball as far as their yardage on the ground. But here's the thing to look at. While Southern is rushing for 165 yards per game and passing for 130 yards per game, Jackson State is rushing for a whopping 254 yards per game while only passing for 178. Where do we see a 70, 80-yard disparity in today's game, ground game to pass game? We don't see that anymore. This is not the 80s, Charles, where everybody ran the ball 2-3 yards in a cloud of dust. So whichever team is able to establish their run game while slowing down the other team's run game will be the victor Saturday.
And Southern has a dynamic running back, Trey Holly.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what I say. Focus on the run games.
It's a good one. Let's go get to this next matchup, at least tee it up as we get prepared for our second break.
Oh, boy.
This is one of two top 10 matchups. So I know you want to cut your teeth and get into this a little bit. Let me set it up, take a break, come back on the other side, and let you get right back into and look at this feature matchup. It's one of two top 10 matchups, if you would. This is number 2 Alabama State Hornets coming in at 2-1. They're at number 10 Florida A&M Rattlers 1-2. We've heard everything that needs to be said about Bragg Stadium, so it's difficult. Alabama State, since they've joined, since FAMU has joined the conference, I should say, the Hornets hadn't had success down there. I would say previously to that, when you look at the overall history, Alabama State hasn't necessarily had a lot of success in Bragg. So that's one component of this. But Alabama State, a lot of the fans are feeling a little different about this matchup. So I'm fascinating to see in a lot of ways when we get back on the other side what you gentlemen have to say about this matchup in terms of Alabama State on the road at Florida A&M Rattlers. We'll be right back after the second break. We'll get back into this top 10 matchup and see what these gentlemen have to say.
You're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics. There's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
Planning an event? From weddings to corporate functions, CMJ Events LLC brings over 15 years of experience to make your vision a reality. Based in Metro Atlanta and serving statewide, even internationally, we provide versatile event planning and authentic catering cuisines tailored to your needs. Whether it's pre-game meals for student athletes, fundraisers, weddings, corporate functions, CMJ Events LLC is your one-stop solution for exceptional service and unforgettable food. Our diverse culinary heritage means we cater to all cultural tastes, dietary needs, and food restrictions, making every meal uniquely yours. Let's make your next event unforgettable. Visit us on all social media at CMJ Events LLC or email us at cmjeventsllc@gmail.com. Also give us a call at 404-664-3882 so that we can start planning now.
College football fans, a champion will rise in Atlanta on December 13th. MEAC champion, SWAC champion, the 10th Cricket Celebration Bowl, crowning an HBCU national champion. For event and ticket information, visit thecelebrationbowl.com.
Since 2002, Empowerment Resources, Inc., a nonprofit organization, has empowered more than 1,500 youth and adults in Duval and surrounding counties through its programs Journey into Womanhood, Girls Mentoring, Life Skills for Teens, and Parenting Education Coaching. To get involved with programs, volunteer, or donate, visit www.empowermentresourcesinc.org. Follow us on social media, facebook.com/empowerment.resources and instagram.com/empowermentjax.
For over 30 years, HBCU Image has been more than just an apparel store. We've been a movement, a statement, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically black colleges and universities legendary. HBCU Image, a Kenny T's company.
ESPN Events presents Red Lobster Band of the Year. Returning to Atlanta on December 12th, 4 bands will qualify for the big stage, where 2 national champions will be crowned. Follow us for rankings updates throughout the season, and join us on December 12th. For event and ticket information, visit bandoftheyear.com.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. Mike Washington is out on assignment, so we have Charles Bishop. We have Wilton Jackson II, as well as A.D. Drew. That being said, let's get back into it and get into this matchup that features top 10 teams, if you would. That's number 2, Alabama State with Florida A&M in terms of this matchup. Let me go to you, Charles. I'm going to let you kick things off. What excites you about this matchup? What should everybody keep their eyes on? As I kind of alluded to, a lot of people, when expansion took place, a lot of people were excited about the FAMU Southern renewal, rightfully so. It was one of the longest interconference where I was out there until it took a little bit of a hiatus. They had a chance to kind of bring it back. Some people were excited about it. And while it still gets the blood boiling for both of those fans bases, uniquely, it may not have been exciting as FAMU was taking advantage of Southern, but in a lot of ways they're done here with Alabama State. But for whatever reason, obviously a Jackson and FAMU matchup has been the thing, even though maybe the fans see differently of why it's a thing. This one seems to work. The distance, whatever, is working in their favor or something like that.
Yeah.
But Charles, what are your thoughts in terms of the matchup?
This is a fascinating matchup, and of course, it starts with Andrew Body. I think it's not too much of a secret when you talk to coaches around the league. You know, the consensus is make him beat you from the pocket. Well, he's completing 73% of his passes, so and he's primarily doing it from the pocket. So that you kind of throw that out, and you kind of ask yourself, is this the game where Alabama State finally makes the ascension into being one of the top teams in this conference? And this is a huge statement game for Coach Eddie Robinson and the Alabama State Hornets to go down to Tallahassee and knock off the first leg of this SWAC East, holy triumvirate. These 3, Jackson State, FAMU, and Alabama State. And you kind of look at this game like the same way over the past few years where, Alcorn makes that breakthrough and they go through and they go on that run. Same way when Grambling had that year where they made that breakthrough with winning at Alcorn and they got to the Celebration Bowl. Is this that game for Alabama State? And I tell you what, for me with FAMU, I've got to have something out of the running game. I've got to have Thad Franklin get up and going to keep Alabama State off the field because they do have a potent offense. This is huge for Alabama, huge for FAMU in terms of, do they match Alabama State's physicality? Alabama State has had a tremendous defense over the past few years, and it is a physical defense. Can FAMU match that intensity? I got to go with Alabama State in this. I think they get the W.
Interesting. Going on the road, you get the W. Number 10 versus number 2. Drew, I want to get your thoughts in terms of this matchup with the Rattlers taking on the Hornets.
This is a top 10 matchup by default, Dr. Cavil, because we could not find another team to put at number 10 besides Florida A&M University. Now, with that being said,
Yes.
this game once again. Let's look at these run games. FAMU is only rushing the ball for 83 yards per game, but FAMU, if you're gonna win this game, you got to run for $1.25, $1.50, and this is the team that you could do it against because Alabama State is giving up 175 yards per game on the ground. So going to what Charles said, you got to be able to run the ball to keep the body on the sideline. So you got to go for somewhere between $1.25 and $1.50 if you're Florida A&M University. And let me give you all a little bit of a geography lesson. Do you two realize that these two schools geographically are closer together than their natural rivals? FAMU being Bethune, especially when you consider that game is always played in Orlando, and Montgomery is closer to Tallahassee than Montgomery is to Huntsville. So this has turned into something where the fans have been going back and forth. Although the games have been one-sided, the fans have really intensified this battle more than FAMU Southern being rekindled because of the geography. And what's this, the fourth matchup or fifth matchup since they've been in the 21, 22, 23, 20. This would be the fifth matchup. Since they've been in the flat. Two of those matchups, Alabama State gave to Florida A&M University. If Alabama can do what they need to do to close out a game, they're going to win this game.
Good stuff. Wilton, where are you with this matchup?
So I just want to point out a stat real quick. Andrew Body leads all FCS coming into this week. Andrew Body leads all FCS quarterbacks with a passer efficiency rating of 223.0. That's how good he's been playing this year. Mm-hmm. With that, I know Alabama State has not won in Bragg, but I definitely think this is the year that's about to change. I don't see FAMU beating them at Bragg. I don't think it's going to be a blowout, but I think that Andrew Body is still going to be able to do what he does. He may not necessarily be able to just sit up in the pocket and deliver passes, deliver darts down the field to his receivers, but I definitely feel like they walk away from Bragg and getting a win. And I think it's going to be a statement win that kind of leads into some other games, and specifically, kind of to Charles' point, they get a win against Alabama State. You start talking about, okay, what's the next big monster that they have to take down in the SWAC. We know it in the SWAC East, it would be Jackson State. I think taking down FAMU would just give them that it's like that first major test that they have to pass, and I think that they do that. And I think for Alabama State, it's gonna begin and end with Andrew Body, and I think FAMU to keep this game competitive. I don't think it's gonna be a blowout, but to keep it competitive, yes, they must get the running game established, but more so than anything, they got to get pressure on Andrew Body. Like, that's number one. And then limit some of those explosive pass plays from Alabama State as well. You're talking about they have the leading receiver in the SWAC in Jalen Jones and another top receiver in the SWAC in A.J. Harrell. So, exactly. Both top 5 receivers in the SWAC. So, if you're not figuring out what you're going to do defensively to contain them in addition to that rushing attack, this game could get one-sided easily. However, I think Alabama State comes away with the victory by 10.
Good stuff. Drew, if you would, flip to the State Fair Classic. I want to get in this other top 10 matchup. As I'm flipping. I told you we had 2 top 10s. So I wanted to get into both of these. These are close to each other. So I wonder if it's going to be an indication of how this matchup wants to go. Let's go to this number 8 versus number 9 in terms of Grambling State and Prairie. Grambling State Tigers come in, winning 2 straight games. They're 2-2 overall. They're on the road because Prairie View's the home team. It's in State Fair Classic, so neutral site. Number 9 is Prairie View and Panthers. They also come in at 2-2. They have a win in conference play over a huge comeback win, second win literally against Texas Southern in the rivalry game there. So fascinating to see what this is. Charles seems leveled up, so I'm gonna let him go first and jump in and tell me his thoughts.
You know what becomes scary about Prairie View? They kind of look a little bit like Jackson State. Mm-hmm. I didn't recognize until past couple of games how physical they are. They got some offensive linemen that are some real road graders up there. And you saw what Chase Beamon was able to do last week against Northwestern State. They have an excellent 1-2 punch in Chase Beamon and Lamaje McDowell. If they get good, solid play, not spectacular play, good solid play out of the quarterback, now they become a team that I have to really start paying attention to, because I think along the course of the season, this defense is just going to get better and better and better. You know, right now you see them giving up explosive plays, but as with most teams, as we get a little further into the season, the defense has kind of started to gel a little bit more. So I like Prairie going into this contest.
Interesting. Wilton, where are you on this matchup? Top 10 matchup.
I'm leaning more towards Prairie in this match as well. But when you look at them statistically, in a lot of cases, they're very similar in a lot of ways. And I think to Charles's point, like, you know, right now defenses are still trying to kind of figure out the balance, because, again, you may have started off the season playing a lower tier opponent, you know, a money game. And now you're getting into the fact, okay, here's where we are playing a conference game. This is where we're really going to see, you know, both sides of the ball, where they're made of and where the games truly count. So I think for Prairie, I'm going to give the edge to them. I think they're going to be able to make enough plays to get a victory against Grambling. I don't think it will be easy, but I think this game also comes down to who's able to turn over the ball less, so less turnovers, and then also who's able to execute when it matters the most down the stretch of a game. So I'm expecting this game to be real close, maybe like field goal close to win it.
Ooh, should be interesting.
Yeah.
Prairie has looked pretty good on their field goal program. Grambling has been solid as well, so it'd be interesting if it does come down to field goal. How does that play out? With that being said, Drew, where are you in terms of this 8 versus 9 matchup? Tigers against Panthers.
Two teams who love
100 years of the classic.
Yeah, two teams who love to run the ball to death. Wilton brought up the touchdown. Wilton, do you know both of these teams are 13 of 16 in the red zone this year?
Yeah.
Prairie View is 10 of 16, has scored 10 touchdowns, while Grambling has scored 12 touchdowns. Now, here's the stat you need to look at if we're going to look at red zone. Grambling has given up 13 red zone touchdowns in 16 attempts.
That's a good stat.
While Prairie View has given up 7 red zone touchdowns in 9 attempts, 8 red zone scores in 9 attempts. So what that's telling me is when Prairie View gets deep, you know, they're going to score, and they have a better chance of preventing you from even getting to the red zone. So that's just something to keep an eye on. So let's pay attention to what happens red zone efficiency between these two teams in this particular ball game.
I like this stat. It's good stuff. Let's take last break. We'll come back on the other side, and we'll go through these top 7 matchups, but I'm going to not ask you to pick all of them. I'll actually go through them and get you to pick one of them, and we'll go through it and see your breakdowns, and we'll keep it moving. So we'll be right back after this last break. We'll come back on the other side, and we'll do just that as we clear out some of these other matchups and see what these gentlemen have to say. Games that may not feature top 10 teams or be at the top, but they're certainly interesting, and I think these guys will let you know why. We'll be right back after this break. This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavil of Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
For over 30 years, HBCU Image has been more than just an apparel store. We've been a movement, a state, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically black colleges and universities legendary. Whether you're a student or a lifelong supporter, our gear lets you wear your HBCU stories with confidence and style. Because when you wear HBCU Image, you're not just wearing clothes. You're wearing culture. You're wearing pride. You're wearing purpose. HBCU.
College football fans, the Cricket Celebration Bowl is celebrating 10 years of crowning an HBCU national champion. A champion will rise at Mercedes-Benz Stadium on December 13th as the MEAC and SWAC champions clash in Atlanta. Join us for championship football, interactive fan experiences, and iconic marching bands. It's an HBCU family reunion that you don't want to miss. See who will be crowned the next HBCU national champion. For event and ticket information, visit thecelebrationbowl.com.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they want a lot, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Ville's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Let's jump into this next matchup. It's South Carolina State Bulldogs, number 3. They're going on the road, and they step out of conference. They're at that Big South OVC matchup with Charleston Southern, the Buccaneers. They're coming 0-4, so I'm not intrigued, but there is a little bit of framing in terms of what this looks like. Drew, what are your thoughts? Does South Carolina State come in here and take care of business?
They should. Chennisberry gets back to what he does. Strong run game, strong defense. They should handle Charleston Southern. Plus, when you throw in the fact that the MEAC tends to do good in non-conference play, you know, they stay around the Mendoza line in non-conference play. SWAC is on the come up this year, but I would definitely lean towards a MEAC team non-conference.
Good stuff. Let's go to that number 4 matchup. This is another MEAC school, and they're on the road as well.
Dr. Cavil, before we move on, just got a report that DOT has intercepted a truckload of white folding chairs heading down 231 South from Montgomery, headed towards Tallahassee, Florida. More details to be released.
That's some pretty good breaking news there. At number 4, we have North Carolina Central, the Eagles, 3-2. Man, they're coming off putting up a lot of points. As we talked about MEAC players of the week. They're on the road this time. They're coming to Texas, East Texas, that is. East Texas A&M Lions that are 0-3 and just had a tough matchup themselves, losing to Grambling State this past weekend. They're out of the Southland, so this is a MEAC Southland. Nice little long trip for North Carolina Central. Charles, what are your thoughts in terms of number 4, the Eagles, going up against the Lions on the road?
Yeah, nice little long trip for North Carolina Central on this, but you got to look at East Texas A&M. They're giving up over 50 points per game. Too much Walker Harris, too much Chris Mosley. I think North Carolina Central wins this one comfortably.
Good stuff. Let's go to number 5. It's a conference game. Opener for both of these teams. It's a number 5 ranked Alabama A&M Bulldogs. They're on the road with Bethune-Cookman Wildcats. They got a big win in terms of what everybody thought. Yeah, it was against a mid-major team, but it was one that was undefeated. And many people were going in the other direction. Alabama A&M has surprised some folks early on. Thought they'd be good, but maybe not this good. They'll get a chance to take it in SWAC play. They got Alabama A&M Bulldogs 3-1 on the season against Bethune-Cookman Wildcats. You notice that you have a lot of these top-ranked teams taking their rankings on the road. This is another case. Wilton, what do you say about this matchup?
I think Alabama A&M gets it done. Shout out to Sam Shade and what he's doing in his first year, in the first couple of games at Alabama A&M. This is a team that, I've gone on record and said a couple times, this is my dark horse team that could really shake things up in the SWAC East. I definitely think that they get this win against Bethune-Cookman. I don't think it comes easy, though. But I definitely think they get it. I think if they're able to force turnovers and control the time of possession, particularly with them running the ball and a good balance of making accurate passes, I think they get the job done.
I'm going to stick with you, Wilton. We go to number 6. I told you, all these top teams are on the road. It'd be interesting to see what the percentage is in terms of who gets it done as a ranking and get it done. Howard Bison, they are out of conference play, obviously, 3-1. They're at Richmond Spiders that recently moved from the CAA, Colonial Athletic Association, now known as the Coastal Athletic Association. Richmond has moved to the Pioneer Football League. A little different type of football playing there. De-emphasis in terms of what you do with scholarships. We've seen the changing landscape. This is part of it. Besides that, though, when you look on the field, can the Bison get it done? Can they get them a non-conference FCS victory for them in the MEAC? Wilton?
So I look at this game as a really strong test for that case, Dr. Cavil, because you think about how they're coming out that strong win against Hampton. You have this momentum. You had great play from Tyreek Starks at quarterback, and then of course one of your running backs in Travis Kearney. If those two can get going, I like their chances against Richmond. I think that for Howard to win this game, they have to be efficient, obviously, on third downs and definitely win the turnover battle. If anything, I would hope that they could come out of this game with no turnovers, but definitely having the fewer turnovers. But it's definitely going to be a tough test against a Richmond team with a quarterback in Kyle Wickersham. They can really get the ball to his receivers. So I don't know if they win this game, but I definitely have it as a close game, maybe a touchdown separating the two teams.
Good breakdown, Wilton. Good information there. Drew, I'm going to go to you in terms of what's become a lot of people's favorite darling. Guys in the HBCU world, Delaware State comes in at number 7. They have to go on the road. I told you that's the theme of this week. Top 7's team rankings. A lot of teams on the road. This one is the Hornets, the 3-1, and they take on a independent Sacred Heart Pioneers. This is the program that is moving, if you would, for FCS Division 1 to Division 3. And they're coming in here getting it done in a lot of ways. I want to see what your thoughts on this matchup in terms of the Sacred Heart Pioneers.
Look, Delaware State, one of the top running backs in HBCU football in Marquise Gillis. And then also one of the top, arguably the top quarterback in football, not named Andrew Body and Caden Bennett. So you're playing the team, transitioning down. D-State, if you don't win this game by double digits, we're going to question why you're in the top 7. That's all I'm going to say.
Good stuff. I agree with you. Charles, we're going to take you to Mississippi. You're familiar with that, but this one's going to take you down to Itabena. You get to call this game, so fascinating to see all the research you put in here. I know you got to save a little bit for the pregame, but tease us a little bit and let me know what are your thoughts with the Texas Southern Tigers going on the road. They're 0-3, and they're at Mississippi Valley State. Delta Devils 0-3. A lot of people say maybe Valley's a little different. People thought Texas Southern coming in this certainly would be a surprise. You certainly can understand you lose a conference game against a rival. It was the last second. I think you thought more of them in terms of what may have taken place against Lamar. It didn't end up that way. Obviously, the California is a thing of itself. The Valley had a home game against Southern, if you would, made it closer than maybe many people thought, and now people are saying, is Valley different? Based on what you've seen, what you read, where are you going in terms of this matchup? I know you can't call in terms of who you see coming out of it, but break it down in terms of what to look for in this big-time matchup.
Yeah, well, actually, it'll be a fun contest to call because one of the things that Coach Dishman was really looking for with this Valley defense is he knows Terrell Buckley likes to blitz a lot. So his receivers are going to get some downfield opportunities, and he has a quarterback in KJ Cooper who can get the ball to what he says would be the strength of the team, and that is Texas Southern's receiving core. Flip that on the opposite end, and Coach Terrell Buckley, he's really excited about his offense in terms of getting Josh Brown unlocked. Now, in both teams, they will say, the record really doesn't belie who they are. And because he knows that both coaches know that they have talent on both sides of the ball, and they're just itching to get out there to kind of put it out there in terms of some of the things they've been working on. T-Buck has been talking about foundationally changing the mindset of Valley's players. Over 70 players into this program and get them into buying into One Valley, winning as a team. That being said, consequently on the other side, talking about Chris Dishman, he wants them playing smarter football. They have been nipping on the heels of a lot of close losses. How do you turn those close losses into wins? So that's why this game becomes intriguing. We kind of joking a little bit about it before it started. This could be one of those high-scoring games where both teams unlock something offensively. So looking forward to getting into it.
I can also see the winner of this game getting a little bit of momentum. You want to throw something in there, Drew?
I just want to ask a quick question. With all those new players at Valley and new head coach in Terrell Buckley, will there be a welcome to the SWAC moment in this game?
There's always a welcome to the SWAC moment. there's never not.
Great question and great answer. Yes, indeed. Let's go to mid-majors. We got 2 top 10 matchups. So I want to get your all's thoughts on this. Share a little love for the major division. As we do this, we unveiled this top 7 on Tuesday. It featured some of those that had a couple of questions in there, but as it was released, number 7, Livingston Blue Bears. At number 6, Virginia State Trojans. At number 5, Albany State Golden Rams. At number 4, Johnson C. Smith Golden Bulls. At number 3, Virginia Union Panthers. At number 2, Everwater Tigers. And number 1, new number 1 this week. 3 straight weeks where we had different number 1 teams, if you would. This time, it's Benedict Tigers that sit at 3-0, 2-0 in conference race. With that being said, our first one there is a top 10 matchup, and it features those Benedict Tigers at number 1. The 3-0, 2-0 in the conference play at number 10, Clark Atlanta Panthers. Started in the top 7, slipped out a little bit, jumped right back in there, so it's been kind of one of those seasons. They're on the outside of that top 7, but they're in those receiving votes, essentially in the 10th slot. You have the Tigers versus the Panthers. The Benedict Tigers have to take it on the road in a place that now has become a pretty exciting, a tough place to go, which is the Panthers. That hadn't been the case for a while. So I'm intrigued about what you're thinking there. So, Charles, tell me a little bit about this Benedict Tiger versus Panther. What are you looking like in this matchup?
Yeah, well, I was really bullish on Benedict on Tuesday because I just kept taking a look at it. Clark was breaking in a different quarterback. And once I started looking into the game, Xavier Jackson had a 4-touchdown game last week for the Clark Panthers. So, and that, I think, bodes well in terms of Clark not falling off from an offensive perspective. But I think it's a little bit too much Darius Ocean in this game. I think Benedict will get the W on the road. Huge win on the road for Benedict to knock off Clark.
Good stuff. Wilton, what are your thoughts on this D2 mid-major division matchup out of the SIAC?
I think, when I think about this game, it's easy to say that, based on what Charles was saying and Darius Ocean's impact and what he's going to do. When I tell you, like, to your point, Dr. Cavil, playing at Clark Atlanta Stadium is tough now. It's been some close games there. I wouldn't be surprised if Teddy Keaton found a way to land an upset against Benedict. Not to mention, in these rankings that we've seen, it's been a new number 1, within the last 3 weeks. So I don't really necessarily know if Benedict is gonna just,
They're not ready for the prime time. Them lights are bright.
I don't think they're ready yet. Like, and that's not no discredit to them as a team. I just think that like this might be a game that could really like steer Clark Atlanta on the path to what they need to do in terms of basketball. They already have 2 losses. I think that like this could be that game that they could really take over and really make a mark on their season.
In a lot of ways, you might have a desperate Panther teams. They know that they really don't want to take their second loss. They want to find a way to stay at least in the mix. It becomes harder if you got 2 of them. With that being said, Drew, what do you say about this top 10 matchup?
Yeah, I was talking about this with a colleague of mine from another school, and we said 2 losses is going to be tough to get to the championship game in this league. 3 losses, you're out of.
Yeah.
So, but one thing is defense travels, everybody. We know that defense travels, And if there's one team that's going to play defense, it's going to be these Benedict Tigers against a Clark Atlanta team who, by any other standards, we would consider a decent offensive team. But by Teddy Keaton standards, is not a good offensive team by the standard that Teddy Keaton has set over the last 3 years or so. So with all that being said, I have to favor the Tigers on the road.
Yeah, our other top 10 matchup is also out of the SIAC. It is a team that surprised a lot of us. That is number 8, the Allen Yellow Jackets versus Albany State. I think everybody believes that they are the real deal. But this is a chance for Allen, the Yellow Jackets, to make a major statement. They're 2-2 overall, 2-0 in the conference play. Had a big win, but they're on the road. They're on the road at number 5, Albany State Golden Rams. Albany, as Mike likes to tell us, 2-1, 1-0 in terms of conference race. I'm intrigued what y'all have to say about this matchup. I'm going to stick with you, Drew. Give us something to think about in terms of the Yellow Jackets versus the Golden Rams.
While Coach Cedric Pearl has done more than anybody thought that he would be able to do at Allen this year, I still am not sold on the Yellow Jackets as a contender for SIAC supremacy. Now, with that being said, let Allen win this game, and I may go pull out some pocket change for the Allen Yellow Jackets. But Isaiah Knowles, Tiant Weiss, that's a tough combination to stop if you're Allen.
Yeah.
I'm from the Show Me State. That's Missouri, y'all. And Allen's going to have to show me in this game. I'm leaning toward the Golden Rams.
Good stuff. Wilton, let me know what you think about this SIAC matchup. It's in your greater backyard, state of Georgia there.
Yeah, no, this game being at Albany State, I'm favoring Albany State. Too much Isaiah Knowles. Again, credit what Cedric Pearl is doing at Allen, because I do think it's great. I just don't think they get this win against Albany State.
Good stuff. Drew? Charles?
You already got me. Yeah.
I think the big thing for Allen is keeping Isaiah Knowles and Tiant White off the field. And he proved last week that he's willing to give the ball to Fabian Duncan 46 times. 46 times for 229 yards. Hey, the formula's there. Why not stay with it? I'll take Allen for the upset. Woo!
You can't get the ball to somebody 46 times one game and expect them to carry the ball like that a second game. Earl Campbell is no longer playing football.
Not Earl Campbell.
That's the last person I ever seen run the ball like that.
That's Earl Campbell, William Andrews. Remember him with the Falcons? That's those type of carries.
You ain't gonna see that too much today.
I'm gonna give you a couple of more matchups. The CIAA has some matchups, but they're with a ranked team on the road in many of these matchups, but I'm not sure if they're concerned, so I'm just going to put them out there. And then we'll get some final thoughts in terms of what it looks like on this weekend. Excited to see what that looks like. You have number 3, the Virginia Union Panthers, 2-1 at Shaw Bears, who are 1-3, 1-0, one to keep your eyes on. And then we have number 4. Number 4, the Bulls need to bounce back as they play host to the Bluefield State Big Blue that are 1-2, hadn't played a conference game. We know Johnson C. Smith Golden Bulls are 3-0. They are 0-1, I should say, in terms of conference play. That game counted for them, so they had a tough loss to Virginia Union. Can they bounce back? Probably should be able to take care of business here. With that being said, let's slide on down here to another CIAA matchup that features number 6, if you would, the Virginia State Trojans that sit at 2-1. They're on the road to Fayetteville State Broncos. We all coming in and wanting to see would Fayetteville State kind of get back to it. This is a chance to make a statement. They are 1-0 in terms of conference play, while they're just 1-3 overall. So it's interesting. Virginia State had a big win. It was a close one. Can they continue to get it done? A lot of ways. In terms of the matchup, that conference win, if you would, against Winston-Salem State did not count for them on the win side while they threw the L to the Rams. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out at the end of the season. A couple of more we got for here before we get it in there, if you would. We got Lincoln, Pennsylvania, the Lions All right, number 7, the Lions are traveling to Livingstone, North Carolina for the Blue Bears. The Lions coming at 2-2, 0-1 in the CIAA, while the Blue Bears are 2-1, but 1-0. Interesting to see can Blue Bears continue to win and make things interesting, find a way maybe to stay in the top 7. Would a victory have been enough to do it? Some people may have thought they slid in there based on all the other things. Could be interesting to see, even though you win, that they may even drop out of the top 7. We'll see what that means if that's the case. Last one we'll do here in terms of this matchup is number 9. Outside of the top 7, but receiving votes. Tough loss last week, as I told you. Winston-Salem State Rams come in at 2-2, 0-1. They're at Bowie State Bulldogs, 1-2, 0-1. We had a good win out of non-conference state, the Bulldogs, but then they had that game where they played up in the major division, kind of took it to the chin. Delaware State showed what you're supposed to do to a mid-major to get it done. So we're trying to figure out who are the Bulldogs. We'll see in this matchup in a lot of ways. So I'm curious what this looks like and something to keep your eyes on in terms of that matchup. As we get ready to close, I wanted to tell you a little bit about this. You'll start seeing some updates in terms of this last part of the show, talking about Chick-fil-A, Las Vegas. As you start looking at the Las Vegas game, some people getting excited about that. That's Grambling and Jackson State. When I and my family are visiting Las Vegas, Nevada, we love to dine at Chick-fil-A, located at 9830 West Flamingo Road. The owner and operator, Ron Peterson, brother of mine, graduate of Prairie University, will be excited to have you as a guest. Let him know Dr. Cavil sent you by when you in Las Vegas. I heard some folks doing some traveling down in those parts to check out maybe some of the gambling that's going on there. You know, that seems like what they do. With that being said, you see all the action, a lot of stuff, SWAC TV, ESPN, HBCU Go. Find a way to get your HBCU. If you're not there in person, traveling these games, having some excitement, cover it like Drew in terms of making sure that the sports information is traveling so people like Charles can do what they need to do to call the game, making sure that people like Wilton Jackson II has the information so he can do his great write-ups and talk to us the next week. So we'll be out there doing the work. You all get out there and cheer, whether that is in person at the stadium with a little bit of tailgating. You know, Mike might sneak by there and judge you in terms of his tailgate. It's a whole nother segment. We'll see if we can get him to sneak back and get
Mike over there eating Brazilian steaks. He ain't worried about us.
That is so true. That is so true. I was trying to find a way, but he is doing that. My goodness. What a life. With that being said, I will say also, tune it on. Like I said, if you can't get there, make sure you turn your television on, whether it's streaming or live. Check out these games and support your local HBCU program, whether you're talking about the SWAC, the MEAC, CIAA, SIAC. And for those at the NIA level, check out HBCU AC and those independent programs, regardless of the division that are out there. With that being said, thank you for listening to Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Make sure you share our podcast with your friends and colleagues. I am Dr. Kenyatta, the Dean of HBCU Sports, come from Inside the Lab in the College of HBCU Sports with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. Again, we hope you enjoyed it. I want to thank you for listening to Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop, gentlemen like Wilton Jackson II, AD Drew, every Tuesday and Thursday, whenever they can make time to join us, particularly like Wilton Jackson II. He has other priorities that he's doing. So, you know, we like to give him a little hard time. But we'll be back Sunday morning to drop you that major division poll, give you updates of what you thought you seen, maybe what you seen, let you talk about it. We certainly will be talking about it. We look forward to next week as we discuss the latest news in the lab. Follow me, Dr. Kenyatta Cavil. That's DrKenyatTaCavil. That's Threads, Facebook, Instagram. Inside the HBCU Sports Lab 1 on Facebook. Inside the HBCU Sports Lab on YouTube. Dream big. Continue to move forward. Charles?
Of course.
Drew?
Lecture.
Check out the SWAC. They may have some news for you. I want to still tease out that plug. Wilton?
Dismissed.